Hello, I'm Joel Deering with the Volleyball Hall of Fame. We're speaking one-on-one today with members of the induction class for 2012. This is Volleyball in Perspective. I'm joined today with Peter Blang. Welcome, Peter.
Hi.
You're being inducted today for a career that spanned nearly 2 decades and included participation in 4 consecutive Olympic Games representing the Netherlands, beginning in 1988 and ending in Australia in 2000. And of course, included was the dramatic 5-game gold medal victory over Italy in the 1996 Atlanta Games. You've been recognized for your golden hands and really for being the first big setter in the modern era of volleyball. So tell us how you got started in volleyball and how did you become a setter?
Yeah, well, how I became a setter, that's a rather long story, because when I started to play volleyball, we were used to play in the 2-6 system. So when I was front row, I was also spiking, and I adored spiking, actually. And because of my good hands, at backcourt I was the setter, because my serve reception was so terrible that the only way to put me through backcourt was to let me set. But of course my hands were okay.
What age were you when you started playing?
I was around 10. I was following to the gym my older brother. He's 10 years older and he played already for the national team. So he was kind of my example. And well, I followed them. I saw lots of practices because it was very close to our home, my home where I'm raised. And but it could also rather be basketball, because my older sister, she's a very famous basketball player in Holland. She plays also as a professional. So I did both, but actually it became volleyball because I loved the spiking more, and also running from paint to paint under the baskets. It's rather long. I prefer the 9 by 9 meters in volleyball. No, but it was more because I liked it more than basketball.
So you certainly had some influence from family members, but did you have any sports heroes growing up?
Well, I could say that my brother and my sister maybe were my sport heroes, because when you're young, you're looking up to your older brother and sister, and they were playing already abroad, and they went to the airport, and I went to bring them or to pick them up with my parents. So, well, maybe they are my examples. Of course, I was following sport in TV and watching the German football, for example, on Saturday, and I knew precisely when there was something important on television. But to have real examples in sports, when I was young, really they were my brother and sister.
So tell me from your perspective and your team's perspective, as you got to the national team level, a setter your size, that changes everything.
Yeah. At the end, it changed everything. But it took a very long way to get there, because of course I had problems moving.
Right.
In defense, normally the setter is one of the best defensive players. I was the worst, actually. Arie Sellinger, also the coach that is inducted in 95, I think, in the Hall of Fame, he brought us the principles of being a competitive volleyball player and also a complete volleyball player. So he focused a lot on my movement and my physical skills to get me in better shape. But also in the first year in the national team, actually I was a middle blocker. I still remember the first practice with Arie in the national team. Everybody had to present himself. I was new for him. So I said, okay, I'm Peter Blangé, I'm a setter. And he was watching me, shaking his hand, and he said, impossible, middle blocker. So for the first year, actually, I was the 3rd or 4th or 5th middle blocker of the team. And actually, by coincidence, I got the possibility to enter the team as a setter, because the first setter, his son Avital, he had hay fever in May, in spring. And the second setter, it didn't work out that well, because actually that guy was more a middle blocker. So I came in as a second setter, and then step by step we made some progress.
And it certainly was an obstacle for other teams who were so used to attacking from the left side and maybe having a good matchup against a smaller setter.
Yeah.
Tell us about about that.
Well, it had 2 favors, I think. One of it was the blocking. And of course, as a setter, you're normally in position 2, so the opponent side, position 4, is normally where the strong attackers are. And I was blocking, so it was okay. And actually, also being a middle blocker, I could move also to the left or being in the middle. So at the net, it had a big advantage. And the other advantage was that when I was reaching and setting the balls at high point with high receptions, the time of the drop of the ball and then the set of the ball was less than with a smaller setter. So we could play the ball at higher level above the net.
And increase the tempo.
And increase the tempo, exactly. So, but we found out during the way. In the beginning, you never knew about it, or you didn't have any feeling or where it's gonna end. But also with the jump set every time, with almost a straight arm setting, only with wrist movements, you could speed up the ball enormously.
What an advantage. And it was amazing, and it really did change the game.
Yeah.
And we were talking before that some other setters began to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
Ball comes to
Lloyd,
mind.
for example, we're about the same height. And he was also a good jump server, but mainly also a good blocker and with a very high set. And later on also Nikola Gerbic came, he's about 2 meters, so also 6'5", 6'6". And it's really an advantage to have a tall setter.
So your team gets a silver medal in the 1992 Barcelona Games. So I first want you to tell us what you remember about that, but then following that, what's the key then to success over that next 4 years that prepared you to go right back to that gold medal match again?
Yeah. Well, first back to the 92 Olympics in Barcelona. It was the end of the period, but which started in '86 from level 0 to top volleyball. It is the period that Arie Sellinger was very important for. It ended in Seoul in the 5th place, also seeing the US winning the gold there with Jeff as an extremely good setter. One of my examples later on because of his ball handling also. And in '92 it was the end of the period with a lot of problems because also the team, we had a half split up that went already to play abroad. Because the system in Holland was that you could only take part of the national team when you participated in the year-round program. So only practice for 12 months with several matches in World League, World Cups and whatsoever. We had some difficulties there, but we managed to arrive in Barcelona. And for us, actually, we ended 4th in the pool. And it was the first time that there was a quarterfinal. So we faced Italy in the quarterfinal, the number 1 on the other pool. And we beat them in the 5th, 17-16. The rules were like that at that time.
Yes.
So 16-16, serve Italy. And okay, we had a block out and won that match. Semi-final, I got injured in that match, in the quarterfinal, so I didn't play anymore at that time. But I remember that we beat Cuba in the semi-finals because it was an early morning match at 10 o'clock. And it was the best time to face the Cubans. But in the final, actually, I remember also Brazil with Mauricio as a setter and the very high velocity game that they had over there. Well, we didn't even see a ball. It was a 3-0 within an hour and 10 minutes. And we had actually no chance. They were the benchmark. Brazil was the benchmark at that time. But we've seen a lot of the way of play. So we copied the fast attacks. But okay, you can give a fast attack, but if you have no spiker that can hit a fast attack,
right? Yeah.
It's not going to work. So step by step, we made some progress. Also, new players come in the '93-'94 period. We had a new coach, Joop Albeda. He's also here for the induction, so I'm very proud and also very happy that he's here. And he, we tried to modify it a little bit, the game, with also all 5 attackers involved in the attack. Also, Brazil was playing like that already. And we got new middle players that could also very well hit from the back court, from the back row. Nowadays you have a libero, but in that days you needed receiving middle blockers and also spiking middle blockers. So at the end we had a very complete team that every skill was there and we could play high speed, so there were no more combinations. The combinations were done by the back row players with a pipe attack, with a second row attack. Sometimes when I was front row, I could also give a tactical shot. So at the end, the opponent had many problems to solve because you have only 3 blockers versus at least 4 or normally also 5 spiking people. And if you do it well, with effectiveness, with brains, with patience, because it was still the side-out game that you could only score with having the serve on your side. Only the tie break was a rally point already. So we had a lot of patience. We were just playing. Our side-out was fantastic.
There were no weaknesses on that
And if
team.
the ball was on our side, okay, we nailed it.
Right.
Because we were speeding up the game. And actually, we were also lucky in '96 because Brazil at that time had the problem that they faced also the quarterfinal. And I remember that they were out in the quarterfinals. So we didn't play versus Brazil, for example. And Brazil was one of our most difficult opponents to play because of their skills and their speed. So in a tournament and arriving in the final, you also need some luck.
And I've got to believe, as you kind of go through that, first of all, you were a constant part of that program developing. And I don't think you could help yourself in answering that. You're starting to talk like a coach. And of course, later on, you move from playing. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's just interesting as you answer that question, I could see the appreciation for what it takes to build offense and defense. And you certainly got that as a player yourself.
Yeah, because you also need some maturity on the court to understand the game very well. I remember my first Olympics in Seoul, I was more concerned about celebrity spotting and making photos. In the second Olympics in Barcelona, I was already more concentrated. And actually in the third and the fourth, I was capable of having focus, I was capable of having plans on the court, and I was also capable of having relaxed time when we had a day off, for example. So it needs time to understand the game very well, to know what it is to face a semi-final or a quarter-final. Or a final is easy to play. But winning versus opponents that are weaker than you, they're the most difficult ones. And you need patience for that. So I was lucky to be there for many years with step-by-step progress. And at the end, it worked out.
Yeah. You played in 500 international matches. And we've talked about some of the Olympic experiences. You also had World League titles. You had World Cup events.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite moment as a player?
Yeah, I have many, of course. But of course, the 96 gold, and especially the way it ended in a tie break, 17-15. So the difference between honor for life and a gold medal, or being best of the rest, is one ball out of 10,000s of balls that we played in official matches. And so I have to tell you that I feel also very lucky and honored that we had that luck. But of course we took part of it, and we were also responsible for the luck. But I remember also other teams, and especially also in Italy, my first victory with Parma, winning the Italian league over there, which was in '91 already. So that was really the first time that I felt that as a setter, I could play on top level. Because I had to feel what it was to be responsible and involved in the victory. And you need also some confidence for yourself, because before that it was always about, well, he's too slow, he's not good enough, his hands are not good enough. What can you do with a not that fast setter to play rallies in difficult situations? It was a struggle, actually. So that was the first time that I was convinced that I could be a top setter.
And that does a lot. When you gain the confidence and have the kind of ability you had. So you moved from a historic playing career and eventually led the Dutch men's national team from 06 to 11, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
What led you to stay involved as a coach?
Because I adore the game, that's for sure. I was still close to the team because I was helping players also in their development and sometimes with some contracts. Well, I got the possibility to come back in the game after 2 years of retirement, and I did something else, other work. So step by step, I left the court as a player, and I came back as a coach. First for 4 years in a club team in Rotterdam in Holland, and then it worked out so well that they offered me the national team. Well, we had difficulties of being there in Beijing, and we hoped to be there in London in 2012. But at the end, it was a difficult period. For sure, it was a period where my respect for my former coaches was up by 100%, because if you are a coach, then finally you see how difficult the job is of being a good coach. And when you're a player, you say, okay, well, coaching, it's easy, everybody can do it. But you're aware, your concern is with the whole team. You know all the good parts of the team, all the weak parts of the team. Actually, you know everything. And when I was a player, okay, I was concerned about my play and my environment, but it was simple. If there was a problem, it was the problem of the coach. And you leave, you step into your car, you go back home, and it's over. And when you're a coach, it starts when you come out of the gym. Talk with players, with parents, program, federation, sponsors, everybody, actually. But I learned a lot, let's say like that, and I still love the game, and if there will come another possibility to come back as a coach, I'm available, I always say that, but I made the decision also for my family to remain in Holland, because normally for a professional career, we have to go abroad, or to Italy, or Germany, or Russia, or maybe in Brazil also. Right. But we made the decision for also family-wise to stay in Holland.
Quick question. You've seen a lot of changes in the game, the rules. What do you think is the next rule change the sport needs?
Well, let's say that all the rules that were changed, most of them were very good. A new ball, the net serve was very, very good. I think also the entrance of the libero was okay. I hope that the next entrance will be similar to the 3 points, the 3 points line in basketball, for instance. So that also with an exceptionally good shot, or with maybe an ace serve, that you're not gaining 1 point, but 2 points, for example.
Like a bonus point.
Yeah, like a bonus point. That would give maybe some extra dimension to the game. So I'm not sure what will be the advantage of rules like that, but I wonder, looking at other sports where they have extra points or bonus points or whatsoever, to do it like that.
It'll be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see, for sure, for sure.
Last question. How do you feel being inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame?
Well, the feeling is exceptional. I'm very proud, not only for the induction, but mainly for the result that started in '86 in Holland with a team at a very low level and ended in the best thing that could happen to us. In volleyball, as a player individually, you end up nowhere because it's really a team sport. So I really think that it's the whole team effort that made me sit here, and well, they chose me, let's say like that. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of the possibilities that it gave me. I'm proud of the results. So I'm a happy man.
Well, we thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. We want to congratulate you for being here and for being inducted. We've been speaking with Peter Blangé of the Volleyball Hall of Fame class of 2012. This is Volleyball in Perspective, and I'm your host, Joel Deering. Thank you for watching.